Today on the Norse Benchwarmers podcast, we will discuss some volleyball rule changes, have some men's college basketball conversation, and end the show with the Norse Benchwarmers podcast tradition, the 2-minute warning. But before all that, we'll recap the WWE Elimination Chamber. Hello and welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I am Colton Smith, joined here by Josh Northhead and special guest Savannah Belote. And today, Savannah, you are here to talk about some wrestling. We also have a new guest in the show, though. We have cameras. Hello. And how are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
All right. Well, I'm not going to waste any more time. You guys take over.
All right. So obviously, the Elimination Chamber was this past week, and it was an all-right show. Yeah. Kind of felt a little pointless to me, but we can go into a little bit more. So the opening match was the Women's Elimination Chamber match. What was your thoughts on that?
It was my favorite match.
I would agree. The back-to-back shows, the women stole the show.
Exactly. So winner obviously was Becky Lynch.
Yes.
It was her first Elimination Chamber.
Yes, first Elimination Chamber and first win.
Yep.
So, very nice. Tiffany Stratton looked like a star.
She was amazing.
Very impressed with her showing. Again, kind of like the Royal Rumble, it looks like maybe Triple H has some emphasis on bringing up the new talent and actually using them, unlike somebody else who used to run the show.
But yeah, Tiffany, she had a great showing. The swanton off the top of the pod was amazing.
Yes.
She looked like Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very impressed with her work. Didn't know much about it. Haven't seen much of her in NXT, so it was kind of one of those things, but fans seem to love her.
Liv Morgan, she had a bunch of code breakers and backstabbers happening. Honestly, it was between her and Becky winning the chamber. For me, because Liv started with Rhea, and then you have Becky just wanting to show that she's still relevant, I guess.
Absolutely. Raquel Rodriguez looked a little different to me. Was it just me, or?
I don't think she had any makeup on. Maybe.
Okay, is that what it was?
Yeah.
So I was just curious about that, but she didn't do too bad, and then Bianca Belair looked impressive as she always does. But I'm interested to see where they go with her in the future.
I feel like she's gonna have something with Jade Cargill at WrestleMania.
I'm down for that. That would be very, very nice. As you mentioned, Becky won, and we'll find out a little bit later on who she'll take on. So the next match was Newcastle Republic versus Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I thought it was an okay match.
I thought the Newcastle Republic had a great showing.
Yeah.
Judgment Day, it was honestly could be either or. You see it all the time. It's like a regular match on Raw.
Yeah, I would agree. It was one of those things where I loved the finish. Very impressive. It made Newcastle Republic look strong, even if they lost clean. So, Judgment Day, I'm assuming the way it's going to go is going to get The Miz and Archer at WrestleMania. Would you agree?
Yeah, I see that happening.
And then, do you think we'll see a cash-in at any point? Or do you think he's just going to hold on to the briefcase and just...
I can see it going either way. Obviously, I remember, I think it was WrestleMania 31, Seth running in the main event and stealing the title. I can see that happening, potentially, since I think he's going to go after Seth.
I would assume he would. I mean, he doesn't really fit in the storyline of the other Cody and Roman. But can you imagine if he would cash in on Cody after Cody finished his story?
That would be crazy.
Yeah. So, following that was the Men's Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was okay.
Okay.
Obviously, the winner, Drew McIntyre, I figured that would happen.
Yeah.
Since the way it's been setting up every week on Raw. Otherwise, I just thought it was an okay match.
Yeah, I didn't really see nothing great about it. Obviously, it looks like a few WrestleMania storylines possibly came with AJ Styles taking out LA Knight and knocking him out, which I feel like they're dropping the ball with LA Knight.
Yeah, because they had so much build-up before Survivor Series, and then now it's just, he's just there.
Yeah, and it's a little bit disappointing to see, but hopefully they figure it out and it's only a little bump in the road because the dude has uber charisma, like some of the best in the company. So I'd like to see him in the top spot.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping it was going to be him and Logan Paul, but it looks like Logan Paul might be a little bit busy with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Does that interest you or any? Or are you kind of like, it's to me.
It's okay. I love Randy Orton, so I'm just happy to see him still wrestling, you know. But.
And then the main event, which do you think they deserve the main event spot first off with Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax? You do. Okay.
I do. She is such a big name. Obviously, she was fighting her home country.
Yeah.
I mean, her entrance there was crazy. Everybody in that building was electrified with her.
I would definitely agree, and it's insane how big she's gotten. Like, she has become a star. I've got friends who aren't even wrestling fans who know Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right match, nothing crazy.
It was pretty even, I would say.
Yeah. I do wish somebody up. So Rhea had to win the match, obviously, being her hometown, holding on to the title of WrestleMania, but I wish it would have been somebody different over Nia.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you can still have Nia lose and still look strong, as she kind of did on Monday night when she started taking everybody out left and right. So, now, looking forward to WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
What would you have main event night one?
Night one. Honestly, thinking off the top of my head, probably Rhea and Becky.
See, that's the way I'm leaning, as long as you don't get Seth and Cody versus Rock and Roman. Because if that happens, that's the clear main event.
I feel like Drew and Seth, I feel like it's going to be a night one match, but it's going to be like middle of the night. It's not super heavy, but it's still like a good storyline to have.
And then one quick last question. Are you looking forward to WrestleMania?
Yes.
Okay, very much. So you can take back over.
Yeah, obviously I don't follow WWE as much, but I've been seeing it all over the place recently, so I might see myself tuning in maybe to WrestleMania, seeing all the stuff. Maybe see Cody finish his story out. I don't know.
Well, night one will be a little bit difficult because I feel like me and you will be busy watching our two teams playing Final Four.
Yes. We hope so. We certainly hope so. But yeah, a lot of big stuff happening in WWE for sure. And we got some big stuff coming up next, as Andy will be joining the pod to talk about some major changes in volleyball.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To the Norse Benchwarmers podcast.
No word in the English language.
You're joined by Josh Northcutt and special guest Andy Edwards. Andy, it's been a while.
I know, it is. Since first week. It's been a little bit.
Well, we missed you here. You're here today to talk about some volleyball because there's been a lot of controversy about their recent changes.
It was a big rule change last week. So they have just approved in the NCAA women's volleyball that double contacts will be approved. Now, that's big. That's big in there. And there's been a lot of controversy to that. So let's talk about it real quick. So first of all, a double contact. So as a setter, you go up and you're going to set the ball with 2 hands so you can set it to your outside, your middle, or your opposite hitter. Those are your 3 different hitters. And what happens is that once you set that ball, you can't touch it twice. And that was the whole entire thing from when it started. I mean, you're not allowed to touch the ball twice. Yeah. And now they go into this meeting and say, hey, we're going to get rid of double contacts. Why? And there's a big up in arms about it. So it's about 50-50 right now on if it's good or if it's not good. My opinion, I like it. I like that the double contacts won't be a thing anymore. It really slows down the game. Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about it, it slows down that game and really just gives a free point to the other team, and that can be a deal breaker. Like it could be your last set 22 to 24, and you get a double on your side. That's an easy point for them, and they win that set. I mean, it's horrible for the other team. Yeah. Also, it's getting rid of extra judgment calls for the other team, for the refs to do. And I think that's always good, to get rid of a judgment call, because really you want it to be rules, not judgment calls at that point. Now the other side to it, I think we were talking about it a little bit, is about setters have been working their whole entire lives to be a setter and not have these double contacts, and now they don't need to, they won't have a double contact rule anymore. Where does that put the setter now? Is the setter lower now in the rankings of where you might not even need it to, my middle can come now and just set the ball up for me because they're fine with that. Yeah.
That's what a lot of the pushback that I've seen has been from players just complaining about it on TikTok and other platforms. And I said this earlier as well, that I kind of compare it as a basketball guy to adding the ability to double dribble a little bit. Like, is that a comparable thing, or is it?
I mean, for some points, yes and no. But if we're thinking about it, if you're double dribbling, it's not giving you an extra point. Yeah. It's turning the ball over, which could result into a point or something like that. But I think it is a good little comparison there. That's a good idea. Yeah. I mean, double contacts, I'm for them. Josh, what about you?
I don't know much about it. I'll be the first to admit that. When you brought it up that you wanted to talk about it, I kind of dug into it. And it was just one of those things where I would just be worried, like you mentioned, it taking someone's quote-unquote job. Like, I get things change over time. Case in point, like when I was younger, there was things in baseball known as like a left-handed specialist and a right-handed specialist, where the pitcher would literally only come in and face left-handed batters. So he'd face that one batter, and then he'd be out. Yeah. And they changed the rules there. So, I mean, it changes with times, and it seems like you like it, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes, and enough people liked it.
I think it'll be a great change. I think it'll get the volleyball games going. It'll make them more engaging, more fun for others, and you'll just keep the set rolling. Another rule that they changed as well is now everybody will be able to have 2 liberos per set.
What is a libero?
A libero. So these are the libero's the one with the cool jersey.
Okay.
But really the definition is that the libero is a defensive specialist that is in the back row only. They cannot be they cannot be in the front row, and they cannot attack. So your libero is your first person that you want to have the ball. Okay. So they can pass it over to your setter, so your setter can make a great set and get to your middle, outside, or opposite. The libero is an awesome position. I love the libero position because it's just fun to watch. You're usually going to switch your libero in for your middle, and that's another thing is your libero can come in without using a substitution. So in NCAA volleyball, there's only 15 substitutions that you're allowed to do during the game. So what happens is you switch with your middle, and you don't have to use a substitution there. And that's great, adding an extra libero. I mean, what had happened is like down in club leagues and stuff like that, when you're starting to come up to NCAAs and stuff like that, you're playing with 2 liberos. That's what they have, and that's how it's been. So adding this second libero, I think, is going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how these rules affect the play of the game, because volleyball is a sport that since I've gotten to college, I've gotten very interested in it, and I'm starting to follow it more and more each season. But I'll be excited to watch volleyball and see what happens this season. But we got an exciting time coming up with March Madness just around the corner. We're going to talk about NKU basketball, of course, and the bracketology on ESPN when we come back on the Norse Benchwarmers podcast.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I'm your host, Cole
Smith here, joined by Josh Northcutt and Ben Miller back on the pod. How we doing?
Doing good. We have some men's basketball to talk, or men's and women's basketball. We're going to start with the ladies first, as always, for NKU. They had a rough week. It kind of cooled off a little bit. They lost to Purdue Fort Wayne in a hard-fought game, 70-58. They then lost to Youngstown State, 68-64. They led the majority of that game, and towards the end just kind of fell apart. In the Purdue Fort Wayne game, the way I saw it, it was just they had opportunities. They just did not take advantage of them. 22 for 54 from the field, 8 of 26 from the three. It's just all around, like, Purdue Fort Wayne was a great defensive team, don't get me wrong, but I felt like they had the opportunity to stay in this game, and they fell apart.
Yeah, like Purdue Fort Wayne, they came into this game the number one three-point shooting team in the Horizon League. I mean, Amelia Brunshinkle, I don't know if I'm saying that name right, I apologize. But
I had it down during the game, but I kind of lost how to say it.
Yeah. But, she played an outstanding game, putting up 17 points. She's number 9 in scoring and number 5 in field goal percentage in the conference.
Really?
Yeah, and Emerson, she had 5 points, didn't shoot as many threes, and she comes in number 4 in the Horizon League in 3-point shots. And I think the biggest disappointment was
on the Norse's side, Kamari Mitchell-Steen, like the last 2 games, putting up 30 against Wright State and 25 against IUPUI. She only had 8 points. I think that
missed
was
a lot of layups too.
Oh, for sure.
Like just gimmies. And that was kind of where I kind of got that narrative through these 2 games. Is like Kamari Mitchell-Steen wasn't hitting her like kind of easy shots, and in Youngstown State they got hot really early and then just cooled off. Could not make a basket in the second half. But we come to expect after this last month of just a hot team to go out there and show up every game, and like they showed up, but they just didn't finish the job. Yeah. But moving on to the men's, a great week from them, beating Colorado State. Sorry, I got it down as CSU. Cleveland State, 75-73, and then beating IUPUI on senior night, 80-64. Warwick had 27 points, finally coming back there in that Cleveland State game, and then LJ Wells stepping up. Kiana Tidre is out, and he steps up and gets 20 points against IUPUI. You'd love to see that from him, just a sophomore. I'm kind of curious how he does next year, but what'd you see?
Coming into this Cleveland State game, like Cleveland State elite offense, number 5 in offense, number 4 in 3-point shooting. Their best player, Tristan Aurelia, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right. So, he had an outstanding game, putting up 25 points, 2 out of 3 3-point shots, number 2 scorer in the Horizon League, number 7 in field goal percentage. this Norse squad, they did an outstanding job stepping up against a really, really good offensive team in the Horizon League.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, they've now won 5 of their last 6, and their one loss was by 1 point in the final seconds to Milwaukee. But if we're going to talk about them going dancing and going deep into the Horizon League tournament, it's going to be because of Marquise Warwick. And if we're going to do that, he's got to start hitting the 3-ball better. 2 of 6, 1 of 6, 2 of 6, 1 of 5, 0 for 8, 2 of 7, 0 for 5 from 3. That is not the best stretch.
I think he's shooting 20. I should have written down this stat, but I think he's shooting about 20-25% from 3. Like his 3-point percentage has tanked these last couple.
Which is not good. And we got to get that figured out.
Get that figured out. And another thing that they'll need is Michael Bradley to step up.
Yes.
Like he's been doing good. Don't get me wrong. He just has to keep doing good in order for him to keep winning. LJ Wells' production will also help. But speaking of March, let's talk about a little bracketology. We're getting in. March is just around the corner. I call it the most wonderful time of the year.
Absolutely.
And this is basically my Christmas. We're going to talk about some of the teams stuck there on the bubble, starting with Seton Hall. They have 2 big games coming up against Craigton. I never can say that word. Craigton and UConn, 2 ranked opponents there that they could potentially vault themselves out of the bubble. But I feel like Seton Hall is just always on the bubble. What do you guys think about it?
For me, I get why they're on the bubble. They're 5-5 in quad 1 games, so they've got some good ones, but they've also got okay losses. However, the difficult for them is quad 3. They're 2-2. You never want to have a quad 3 or quad 4 loss, so there's that. But the Big East is so tough, and like you said, you get Creighton and you get UConn. You win one of those games, it should probably get you in, especially if you beat UConn. You win both, you're no longer on the bubble. But you lose both, you're probably on the outside looking in.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, you know,
when I look at these next 2 games, like as you mentioned, Josh, number 12, they're playing at number 12 Creighton and at number 3 UConn.
Yeah, like on the road.
They're both on the road. Like if they can pull those 2 games off, it would be a miracle. In my opinion, they should be in the big dance.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking though, we talk big dance and we think of March, we always think Gonzaga.
Yeah, that's always a team that comes up, huh?
1-5 this year in quad.
Against a Kentucky team that, I'm sorry, was on a rough stretch there.
Right. So, as of right now, would you agree that they're one of the last 4 in, or would you move somebody else in?
I think it all just comes down to the St. Mary's game. As of right now, I guess we can put them on the bubble because of that. The only team that I could see, moving in there would be Colorado. I like that team with Cody Williams. I think he's a dog. I think you need a player like that to succeed in March. But I don't hate Gonzaga in there because I know they like I said, it comes down to that St. Mary's game. But I think this is probably the weakest Gonzaga team by far.
They're also 21st in net ranking.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue compared to Colorado's 34.
I get
but
that.
They're also both 1-5 in quad 1. So, I mean, they're sharing the same part there. So, it's Pac-12 and the Gonzaga's conference, obviously. So, I would maybe lean Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, for myself, I think
for Gonzaga to get into the NCAA tournament, they're going to have to knock off St. Mary's. I mean, a win over a really good Kentucky team. I mean, that's a good start though, but I still feel like they need to go to St. Mary's and get that win, much needed win.
Yeah,
for sure.
If they don't win that Kentucky game, they're not even in the conversation.
It's crazy to think we're talking
weird.
March and Gonzaga not in the tournament.
Yeah, it feels weird. Usually it's just like St. Mary's is really their only issue throughout the year, and it's just smooth.
But that San Francisco team, who they got to match up with this week,
is
also very good. Beat Gonzaga earlier.
Another road game for Gonzaga. And it's just so weird. Like at the beginning of the season, I believe Gonzaga, they played Purdue and Tennessee, didn't win both of those games, and we're just used to seeing them being so
dominant. But it's just so weird to see them in this position, trying to secure a spot in the big dance.
Yeah, I feel like it was bound to happen at some point with their weak conference. If you have one year where you're just not the top in the conference that could happen. But moving on to a different team here, let's take a look at Virginia, as they have a big, basically make or break game here against Duke. If they win, I would say they're in.
Oh yeah.
If not, then
I mean the win got Wake Forest in, so it's hard to argue that. Virginia doesn't really have a bad loss on the year. They're 14-1 when it comes to quad 3 and 4 games. However, they are 6-7 in quad 1 and 2. It's kind of been a weird year. They don't score though. That offense, I watched North Carolina play them this week, and I was falling asleep.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how all of this plays out. We have the 2-minute warning coming up here after the break on the Norse Benchwarmers podcast.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much, for taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot,
for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for taking you to your therapies, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing. That's why AARP gives you the information to provide even better care for your loved one. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. Colton Smith. Well, can't waste time. It's a 2-minute warning. Let's get right to it. Josh, start us off.
All right, got 3 questions for you today. Number 1, should Nick Lodelo be guaranteed a starting spot for the Cincinnati Reds rotation? Ben?
I would say yes. I mean, just looking at the stats here, the last 2 seasons, 6-8 record, ERA of 4.3, and 178 strikeouts. Like, I look for him to do some damage this year in the 2024 season.
Colton?
I say yes. I think his experience will be valuable to this. It would be kind of a solid guy on that rotation. And so, yeah, I got yes.
Personally, for me, I say move him down to AAA.
Really?
AAA, and health issues starting back slow. Your college basketball game of the week.
I got Marquette and Creighton, as Creighton has a chance to vault up into that 3 to 2 seed category with this win, and I'm excited to see that.
Ben?
For myself, I'm going with number 23 Gonzaga versus number 17 St. Mary's. I think this is a must-win for Gonzaga to build on their NCAA tournament resume. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup. It's going to be a fun one.
So I had a different answer, but I changed it up, and I wanted to get to. I'm going NKU at Wright State on Saturday. They want that bye in the Horizon League.
Hey,
it's big for them. So
I want to be there at the Nether Center. It's going to be a great time.
Very nice.
Sure.
And last but not least, obviously the 3 of us are big NASCAR fans.
Yeah.
Great start to the season. Amazing finish on Sunday. So who is your winner for Las Vegas?
I have Tyler Reddick. I think he's going to set the tone this season. He's going to pull away from the rest of the field, and this is going to do it right here at Las Vegas.
Ben.
For myself, I'm going with Christopher Bell. I mean, the 2 Las Vegas races both finished in the top 5. I think he gets his first win of 2024 in Vegas.
Defending champ William Byron, but I'm taking his teammate Kyle Larson. Simple and easy.
All right. Well, can't wait to see how that all plays out. Thank you, listeners, for listening. Thank you guys for coming to the show. Thank you, everyone who works on it. Be sure to listen to the Not So Small Talk show and the Raid, and we'll see you guys in the next one.